Man, I had to go outside and go for a walk before I did this video to cool off. And I'm still pissed off. I'm still pissed. This was straight up sabotage. Stephanie White, you are a bum. Aaliyah Boston, you are even more of a bum. You are a $6 million piece of garbage out there. Your ass can't make a layup. You refuse to pass the ball to Caitlin Clark. You stink. You stink. You've been intentionally not passing the ball to Caitlin Clark for the last 7-8 games. We've been watching and counting. I've been watching your ass not pass her the ball. You can't make a layup to save your life. You just as garbage at...
Major developments involving Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham have put the Indiana Fever under serious attention. Fans are now questioning whether Clark and Cunningham could leave Indiana and potentially make a surprising move to the New York Liberty. After a painful 91-85 defeat against the Dallas Wings, Clark appeared extremely frustrated and walked away from the bench. Stephanie White remained motionless on the sideline, seemingly stunned by the heated situation unfolding in front of her. The moment appeared to reveal a deeper internal conflict that had reportedly been developing inside the Fever for several weeks.
She mentioned when she played a hell of a game, but this thing was 100% about Kelsey Mitchell, and I think it had everything to do with them seeing Caitlin Clark climbing that MVP ladder, and they said, hell no, we are sabotaging this, and that is exactly what happened. The Indiana Fever lose to a team in the Dallas Wings that lost 8 out of their last 11 games. You could thank Stephanie White, who wanted to make it all about Kelsey Mitchell. Welcome to Keep the Vision. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Share the channel, hit the bell notification, hype the video. That'd be greatly appreciated, man. I am disgusted with the Indiana Fever. I am disgusted. Stephanie White, get your bum ass.
From the opening possession, the growing disconnect within Indiana's offense was impossible to ignore. Stephanie White appeared to use Clark mainly as a playmaker while building the opening action around Kelsey Mitchell. Clark delivered a selfless bounce pass that helped Mitchell reach the free throw line during the planned sequence. However, that possession quickly reflected the offensive pattern that continued throughout the evening. As the game progressed, Clark was increasingly pushed away from the center of Indiana's offensive system.
Disgusted. Stephanie White, get your bum ass in the trash. Get your bum ass in the trash. You are a freaking bum of a coach. You are terrible. You are terrible. You mean to tell me the very first play of the game was ran for Kelsey Mitchell? Caitlin Clark threw her a bounce pass. Kelsey Mitchell went to turn the corner, got fouled, went to the free throw line. From that point on, every single play in the first half was for Kelsey Mitchell. Nobody else could establish a rhythm because you did nothing else.
Analysts quickly noticed a troubling offensive approach that appeared to keep Clark away from the heart of the action. Despite Clark's growing national momentum and rising MVP recognition, Indiana continued running much of its offense through Mitchell. The strategy seemed to sacrifice Clark's natural rhythm. Instead of allowing her to control the game as usual, the offensive chemistry that made the Fever dangerous gradually disappeared as possession after possession passed. With every offensive trip, the tension surrounding Indiana's strategy and Clark's role became increasingly obvious.
To get a shot from three, you like by the time people got looks, they were in no rhythm. There was no rhythm by the time they actually got looks at the rim. Aaliyah Boston is trash. She does not set screens. You got people tackling Caitlin Clark. Aaliyah Boston, big soft sorry ass, don't do nothing. She's a big soft sorry piece of if you ask me out there. Aaliyah Boston is ass. $6 million of ass juice out there. She ain't did nothing. Got dominated by Jessica Shepard. Aaliyah Boston, get your sorry ass in the trash too. Go on. Get your sorry ass.
Statistics from the first 2 quarters revealed just how unusual Indiana's offensive approach had become. Clark did not receive a meaningful pick and roll or ball screen designed specifically for her until the final seconds of the second quarter. One of the league's most explosive players was left around the perimeter without the actions normally creating her opportunities. Her scoring threat was effectively neutralized while the offense continued operating around other players. As this pattern continued, Clark's frustration became increasingly visible throughout the game.
Straight up bum. Stephanie White, you are the biggest piece of garbage, biggest piece of trash out there. Take a look at this. I'm glad. Look, Caitlin Clark is turning her back on Stephanie White. She's over it. Can we end this thing at the end of the season? Shout out to Kelsey. You played a good game. We're going to get into that. I want this thing broken up by the end of the season. You can't afford both. Pick one and let's move on. At this point, I'd rather y'all keep Kelsey, Stephanie, and AB together in Indiana and let's let Caitlin go elsewhere. Can we go elsewhere, please? I just want to get the hell away from here. I want to get away from these weirdos. I want to get away from this sabotaging organization. I want to get away from everything. Take a look at this.
Stephanie White appeared to overlook the serious breakdown developing within Indiana's team dynamics during the contest. Cameras repeatedly showed the coach giving Clark instructions during important dead ball situations without making major offensive adjustment. When Clark eventually received the basketball, White appeared frustrated rather than changing the system to create better opportunities. The tension between coach and superstar became increasingly visible through their body language and communication. What once remained hidden behind diplomatic comments was now becoming difficult for everyone watching to ignore.
Look at her. She don't want to hear it no more. Now look at Stephanie White when Caitlin Clark has the ball right here. She don't even want Caitlin to have the ball. She want Kelsey to have the ball. You see that reaction from the coach? You see that? They hate each other, and it's okay. I'll be glad when this thing is over. I will be glad when this thing is over. Get Caitlin Clark the hell away from this team. Get her the hell out of here, man. Caitlin Clark don't want nothing to do with Stephanie White, and Stephanie White don't want nothing to do with Caitlin Clark, which is fine. Can we stop this whole kumbaya thing, this fake thing? Stop standing up for Stephanie White.
Indiana's frontcourt decisions and passing patterns made the offensive problems even more concerning as the game continued. Aaliyah of Boston frequently appeared reluctant to complete simple handoffs with Clark while operating around the perimeter. Several possessions showed Boston moving toward Clark before suddenly changing direction and passing directly to Mitchell. This repeated pattern prevented Clark from developing the rhythm normally created through those actions. Dallas defenders could therefore pressure Clark aggressively while Indiana struggled to provide consistent offensive support.
Y'all had to go Kate for her at the podium. Y'all lost to a team that lost 8 out of their last 11 games. Caitlin Clark didn't play well. You shot 1 free throw. That shows me you had a lack of aggression. I felt like you checked out in the second quarter, to be honest. I watched you check out. They ran everything for Kelsey Mitchell. You came down the court. You wasn't even looking for no ball screens no more because you knew they wasn't coming. And you know once you pass the ball, you're never getting the ball back. You know that. If we all know it, you know it too. You know Aaliyah Boston don't give you the ball when you give it to her. You know when you go for the handoff with Aaliyah Boston, she's going to do this and then go the opposite way and give it to Kelsey. You know that.
Screen and roll situations, Boston often failed to provide enough protection, leaving Clark exposed to heavy defensive pressure. Dallas defenders repeatedly crowded Clark, while Boston provided limited contact to create the separation her guard needed. Clark still created several quality opportunities around the basket, but Boston struggled to consistently finish those chances. Indiana's weak interior presence became increasingly obvious as Dallas repeatedly attacked the paint. Jessica Shepard took advantage of situation and dominated inside, exposing the Fever's lack of physical strength.
Every game has been that. This girl body just shut down the last game, just like it did in the playoffs last year. And she plays 35 minutes. But she played well with her opportunities. They made it her a focal point. They made it a point to get her established. They made it a point to get Kelsey a rhythm. And when she got that rhythm, she kept it going. They never made it a point to get anybody else a rhythm. Sophie Cunningham, 0-4 from 3. By the time Sophie Cunningham got a look at the rim, the game was almost over. She had no rhythm. No rhythm. Monique Billings sucks. The biggest crock of dog shit for $800,000. I don't know how she's getting
By the middle of the second quarter, Clark's attitude on the floor had noticeably changed as the offensive system continued moving away from her. She gradually stopped trying to force herself into the action after realizing that the screens and opportunities she expected were simply not coming. Once the ball left her hands, she appeared increasingly convinced that it would not return to her during the possession. The excitement and constant energy that normally define her game were replaced by a much colder and more detached approach. It looked as though she had mentally stepped away after recognizing the pattern developing around her. The consequences of Indiana's offensive strategy were clearly reflected in the final numbers as Clark finished only 4 of 15 from the field. She recorded just 10 points, 9 assists, and 4 rebounds while making only 1 free throw throughout the contest. Meanwhile, Mitchell produced 37 points, but the heavy focus on her scoring appeared to disrupt the rhythm and involvement of the rest of Indiana's roster.